Hey, Connor. Good to talk to you again. And I just wanted to ask you how you're doing and your girlfriend's doing.
Well, we're both doing well. Just trying to figure out when we're going to see each other again. So she luckily was here, I think, maybe the day before the season was called. So, and she left just kind of in the nick of time where they're starting to talk about, stopping travel, and people were, really started to get serious. So I saw her, about it's close to about a month ago. So, just trying to figure out when and when it's going to be safe enough for one of us to travel.
How is this isolation treating you?
It's obviously tough. The days are long. I think, like we chatted earlier, I don't have anyone living with me. I live on my own. I always have since my second year in pro. So, didn't really expect like this, but obviously it'd be a nice time to have a roommate, right about now.
All right, man. Thanks. Hang in there.
Or she too.
Hey, Conor, Matt Lehman here. Good to see you. I hope everything is going well. I'm just wondering, how are you spending the days? How are you feeling your time right now?
I'm pretty routine, oriented, I think, during the year. I think a lot of guys are. Whether it's travel or, being home, I try to do, the same thing kind of every day and eat, kind of the same stuff. So, just trying to figure stuff out, try to, go for a walk in the morning, try to get a workout in or whatever it is, because we really don't know when we're going to play again. So you have to be ready, but it's also, a lot of downtime and kind of take advantage of talking to my family more and more every day, because you don't really during the season. So that's one thing, I've been taking advantage of.
So you kind of spoke on it, but what are you doing to prepare just in case the season resumes?
I think just trying to stay relatively in shape. You can't replace game shape, so we're all going to need a few weeks, or close to a month to get ready to get back into that game shape. But you gotta stay at least somewhat ready. Go for runs or walks since my knee's healed up, and I have a stick in my house and stick handle with a tennis ball or whatever. I mean, it's obviously not great to be away from the game for a month now with no practices or being on the ice, but you just try to fill it in one way or the other.
Conor, good to see you. Hope the family's staying safe and healthy, and hope your girlfriend continues to stay safe.
Thank you, Alex.
You did touch on it a bit in that last question. We do know that you suffered some sort of injury the second to last game, but you're back to feeling 100%, we'd assume, and how is kind of conditioning played into that, like the previous question?
Yeah, I'm about 5 weeks out right now, so it's so I'd say I'm at 95%. I think 6 weeks is when they say you start to feel exactly normal. So, but obviously I've been in touch with Z, our trainer, and Donnie, and all the guys there about doing stuff and making sure I'm taking care of it. So it's I want to have a long career, and it's not an ideal time to have an injury. Obviously I get a lot of time to rest, but I just want to make sure it's 100%, and it's something that never bothers you. So that's my job, and I've been focusing on my knee a lot. So, but another week or two, and I'll be 100%, and we'll see when I can get back on the ice.
I take it there's been plenty of time to look back at the season so far, the first 70 games you guys played. Is there a particular moment? I've been asking some of the guys this, if there's a particular moment that stands out, whether it be a certain game, a certain play that was made, maybe a stance of leadership made by one of the guys during the year. Is there anything that's lodged in your memory bank from this year?
I think I think that back-to-back against St. Louis and Washington, where we won both games, I don't know if many people know, but we were at the airport till about 4 a.m., and then we got to our hotel in St. Louis and, played the defending champs the next night. We came out and won. So I think that was a pretty cool trip for us. And, it was, both close games and into a shootout. So that was one, that trip there, kind of sticks out.
Thanks, Conor.
No worries.
Hey, Conor, could you talk a little bit about what your girlfriend is going through, what she's doing and what she's seeing?
Well, I mean, it's a little odd talking to her every day. And she has to have a mask on, obviously, and we usually talk at lunch, but her lunch break's cut short right now. So, but we don't really talk about what she's seeing or going through. It's just more, just check in and make sure she's okay, and we try to limit her time and public transportation and stuff. She lives in the city, so stuff like that is my concern, and is making sure she feels safe going into work and in her house, and has groceries and all the stuff that all of us are worrying about. Obviously it's different. She happens to be across the country, so that's the only tough part.
Do you feel like it's given you any kind of different view on all of this than some of the other teammates, having someone close to you in your life who's actually working through it?
No, I think we all understand how serious it is. I told Craig earlier in the week, I watched all the press conferences, so you kind of had a sense that it was going to be pretty serious early on when you were listening to the doctors and stuff. So and then obviously talking to her, and you understand how serious it is, and unfortunately I think the one thing that scares a lot of us is just the unknown, and how long it's going to last, and that's really it. So but I know all the guys are being safe. We're fortunate enough that nobody has contracted it, and I know some teams are dealing with that, but I know all of us are being safe and keeping our distance from each other, but we're all checking in with each other as well.
Hey, Conor, hope all is well. So Gary Bettman mentioned that option for having the season return is just going straight to playoffs and not playing out the remaining games. You guys are a few points out of a playoff spot. So how would you feel if you guys did not get to finish that season and had to watch the playoffs with the shortened season?
Well, that would be our fault. I mean, we didn't put ourselves in a position. Obviously, no one's preparing to have the season end at game 70, but you have to be in a position for the playoffs, and unfortunately, that's out of our control. So, but if they go to 12 teams, I know we're in, and if they do anything more than that, we're in as well. But we're not going to sit around and blame people that if we're not in. But obviously, we all want to play, and I hope for a 12-team playoffs and get right into that, but that's their decision, and it's kind of just waiting to see what's going to happen.
Thank you, Conor.
Conor, thanks for hanging out with us. Just to follow up on the last question, should the commissioner and the league officials declare that the season is over at this point and no Stanley Cup winner would be decided, how disappointed would you be as a player, and perhaps talking with your teammates, that the season would end right now and that you would get ready probably for training camp in September, October, November, whenever the league feels it would be advantageous to do that?
You're asking if they should. You're not asking what I think they should. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that should the league end the season on March the 12th and no Stanley Cup winner awarded, how disappointed would you be that the season would have ended at that point without a chance to compete later on?
Well, of course. I mean, everybody, wants to play, and the most exciting time of the year is, those last 20 games where everybody's kind of, competing and fighting for a playoff spot. So that's obviously a tough time of the year to miss. I think whatever decision they make is going to be for the best. I think obviously they have a lot of choices right now, but unfortunately, no one's really going to decide. The only one who's going to decide is the virus. I mean, it's as long as that persists, then I mean, then I don't know how we are able to play. So they'll make up their mind, and when they do, I'm sure it's going to be the best decision. And hopefully, we do have a chance to compete for the Stanley Cup. And then again, hopefully, we're able to start on time next season. So there's a lot in the air, and kind of just it's kind of wait and see. And it looks like it's just changing. Almost every week you hear new information. So we'll see.
Thank you.
Hey, Conor, Alex again. Follow-up question. You guys have very busy schedules as it is, in season, even off season. Sometimes it can go by so fast. Have you been pleasantly surprised during this time about maybe something that you've had time to do that you haven't had time to do otherwise in past years as a pro hockey player?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't really do much else than play hockey. I mean, I enjoy playing hockey. My favorite thing to do is to skate. So, I usually only take about a week or two off in the off season, and I start skating again. It's not as serious as it is during the season, but I enjoy it. So I haven't really done much. I used to be able to play the piano pretty well, and my mother asked me to pick that up. I have a keyboard in my house, but I haven't started yet. So that's the only thing that has been requested that I pick up again, but I have not.
Has Tom Brady to the Buccaneers sunk in yet?
It's a little odd. I was asked about that yesterday, and it's the only thing I knew. It's going to be weird seeing somebody else. Obviously, I was 6 when they won their first Super Bowl, and now I'm 24, and I've seen 9 Super Bowls, and every season he was a quarterback. So obviously, I became a big fan of him and a big fan of the Patriots, and someone I admire and follow. So obviously, it's going to be a little weird, but I'm still going to root for him, and whatever team is in the playoffs, I'm sure I'll jump on that bandwagon, Buccaneers or Patriots.
Thanks. How much do you talk to your teammates about all these different scenarios? And I know you want to play if it is safe. What's the consensus like?
Well, we talk every day. It's just certain guys. We have obviously our team group chat, but I talk to, Kells, Chick, Devo, guys, around my age, and, Grabner, probably about every day. And everybody has their own thoughts. It's hard really to say, though. I mean, obviously we've talked about the scenarios and what the league could decide to do, but there's also talk about, what if, how are we going to be able to play if this, continues? And, it's hard to tell, how it affects, people our age. And, there's different, you hear different things. So it's just, it's really just wait and see. Unfortunately, we have no real say. It's just, we're just waiting and, seeing what happens with the virus. And obviously when you hear about some stories on what's going on, you realize that, our problems are kind of minimal to what's going on. But obviously we're athletes, and our job is to play, and, that's what we want to do. And, we'll just see what happens.
Yeah, sorry. Conor, Matt Lehman again from Arizona Sports. Back to just the topic of resuming the season. Some of the proposals out there would call for the season resuming, however that looks like, whatever format, it would be later on this year, far later than what would be normal. Do you think that if the offseason got shortened because of that, would it make it harder to prepare for next season? Would it cause an issue if you didn't have as much time off, or is the time off right now sufficient for that?
It's hard to say. Guys, train differently in the summer. I know I'm someone who skates, our season ended about April 4th. I went to Tucson for 2 weeks, and I was skating by the end of April. So, and I know guys that don't skate till August or July. So the guys use their time off differently. I like to be someone who's skating a lot and training and doing a lot of off-ice stuff with my stick. So, a shortened summer would be a challenge, but you'd have to find time to fit it in. But, my job's to play. So, if I'm told to play, I'm playing. And it's if the next year is shortened and we're playing 82 games in 5 months, and so be it. We just have to, kind of, your job's to play. You play when you're told.